and seeking the wisdom of his ancestors. It was a time of deep introspection and meditation as the boy sought to understand his place in the order of the universe, the role laid before him by the gods. And on this day he was expected to gain his manhood name. If events went as they should, he would rejoin his family and clan in time for the evening midsummer festival. As a child he had been called Kieli, a diminution of Kielianapuna, the red squirrel, the clever and nimble dweller in the forests of home. Never seen, but always present, they were considered lucky when glimpsed by the Orsini, and Kieli was considered to be a lucky child. The boy shivered almost uncontrollably, for his paltry stores of body fat hardly insulated him from the night's chill. Even in the middle of the summer, the peaks of the mountains of the Orsini were cold after the sun fled. Kieli waited for the vision. He saw the sky lighten, a slow progressive shift from grey to pale grey-blue, then to a rose hue as the sun approached. He saw the brilliance of the sun crest the distant mountain, a whitish golden orb that brought him another day of loneliness. He averted his eyes when the disk of the sun cleared the mountains, lest his sight flee from him. The trembling in his body lessened as the sun finally rose sufficiently to begin to relieve the chill. He waited, at first expectantly, then with a deep fatigue-generated hopelessness. Each Orsini boy endured this ritual upon the midsummer day, close to the time of his birth anniversary, in one of the many such holy places scattered throughout the region. For years beyond numbering, boys had climbed to these vantage points, and men had returned. He experienced a brief moment of envy as he recalled that the girls of his age in the village would be in the roundhouse with the women at the moment, chatting and eating, singing and praying. Somehow the girls found their women's names without the privation and hardship endured by the boys. Kieli let the moment pass. Dwelling on what you can't control was futile, as his grandfather would say. He thought of his grandfather, laughter in his eyes, who had been the last to speak to him as he climbed the lonely trail from the valley where his people dwelt. The old man had smiled, as he always had. He could hardly remember a time when he hadn't seen a smile on the old man's face. Grandfather's face was like brown leather from nearly 80 years of living in the mountains, his clan tattoos upon his left cheek still black despite years in the sun. The old man's keen eyes and strong features were always framed by steel-grey hair down to his shoulders. Kieli resembled his grandfather more than his father, for they both shared the olive skin which turned nut-brown in the summer and never burned. And in his youth, grandfather also had hair the colour of a raven's wing. Others remarked that an outlander must have joined their family generations ago, for the Orsini were a fair race, and even brown hair was unusual. Kieli's grandfather had whispered, "When the gourd is empty on Midsummer's Day, remember this. If the gods haven't already provided you with a name, that means you're allowed to choose one you like." And then the old chieftain had smothered him in a playful but still strong hug that sent him stumbling along the path. The other men in the village of Kulam looked on, smiling or laughing, for the festival would soon be upon them, and the time of the naming vision was a joyous time. Kieli remembered his grandfather's words, and wondered if any boy actually had his name bestowed upon him by the gods. Examining the gourd, he judged he would be out of water by midday. He knew he would find water at a brook halfway down the path to the village, but he also knew that meant he had to leave.